The Invisible Code of Reality. Introduction. Reality is not what it appears to be. What you touch, what you see, what you call solid matter, none of it begins out there. Every event, every relationship, every success or failure is first born inside, in the unseen dimension of frequency. And frequency is not some mystical point system where you earn cosmic rewards by eating the right food or chanting the right affirmation. It is far more intimate than that. It is your state of consciousness. It is your self-concept, the image you carry of yourself when no one is looking. It is your imagination, your mental attitude, and the way you secretly expect the world to treat you. Before reality ever becomes physical, it is energetic. Energy always precedes matter. And that energy, the unique signature of your being, is your frequency. Imagine for a moment that life is not arbitrary at all, but runs like a cosmic operating system. Every command you type into it comes not from your words, but from your inner state. That inner state is your password, your access code, your unseen command line. If the code matches, the doors open. If it does not, you remain locked out. Here is where most people stumble. They live as if the outside world is the cause and the inside is the effect. They believe that if they just push hard enough in the physical world, if they work longer hours, manipulate circumstances, or beg life to change, then fulfillment will finally come. But it doesn't. They run faster on the treadmill of effort, and yet the scenery of their lives remains unchanged. Think of how many people chase money for years only to remain broke. Think of those who long desperately for love, yet find themselves alone or in relationships that crumble in the same predictable pattern. Consider those who pray for success but live in constant frustration. These outcomes are not accidents, nor are they punishments. They are the inevitable harvest of an inner state that does not match the desired reality. This is the great misunderstanding. People confuse effect for cause. They believe if they rearrange the effect, the cause will magically shift. But reality does not work backward. To try to change your outer world without altering your inner frequency is like trying to rearrange the reflection in a mirror while refusing to touch your own face. Haven't you experienced it yourself? You wanted something so badly that you worked, fought, begged, and even prayed for it. Yet it slipped through your fingers. At the same time, there may have been other moments when you felt quietly certain, when you carried a calm inner knowing that something was yours before it appeared. And then, almost effortlessly, it showed up. This is not chance. It is frequency. Your outer life has always mirrored your inner state, even when you weren't aware of it. Look at your patterns. Look at the stories that keep repeating. Aren't they perfect echoes of the beliefs and expectations you carry beneath the surface? It is uncomfortable to admit, but reality has never once betrayed you. It has only obeyed you. The fruit has always matched the seed. So what exactly is this thing we call frequency? It is not a vague vibration. It has structure, and that structure can be seen in 7 components. Frequency is formed first by the beliefs you accept as true, whether empowering or limiting. It is reinforced by your emotionally charged thoughts, those ideas repeated with feeling that imprint themselves into your nervous system. It is shaped by your perception, the lens through which you interpret the world. It is guided by your expectations, those silent contracts you make with tomorrow. It is strengthened by your focus, the direction of your energy and attention. It is revealed in your reactions, the way you respond when life tests you. And finally, it is anchored by your convictions, the truths you no longer debate but carry as laws of your being. These 7 components weave together to create your state of consciousness, and that state is the seed from which every experience grows. Align them with the reality you desire, and alignment becomes inevitable. Neglect them, and you unconsciously plant the wrong seeds, then wonder why your life keeps producing the wrong fruit. This is the essence of the Hermetic law of cause and effect. Cause exists on the mental plane. The effect shows up on the physical plane. The two are inseparable. Every inner cause has an outer effect, and every outer effect can be traced back to an inner cause. Yet most people live backward. They chase after effects, money, approval, success, without ever tending to the cause. It is like trying to harvest apples from a tree where you planted orange seeds. No amount of effort, no amount of struggle, no amount of wishing can make the fruit different if the seed itself is wrong. Reality does not bend to your words or your actions alone. It bends to your frequency. Once you understand this, frustration loses its power, because now you see clearly. The outer world is not a battlefield you must conquer. It is a mirror you must learn to master, but understanding frequency is only the first step. To master reality, you must also learn to work with the law that governs its every move, the law of cause and effect. In the next section, we will go deeper into this principle, so you see why chasing outcomes never works and why changing the seed within is the only way to guarantee the harvest without. Chapter 1. What frequency is made of? Every life hums with a frequency. Most people think of it as an abstract vibration, something too vague or mystical to define. But here's the truth. Your frequency is not a hazy cloud floating around you. It is not determined by how often you sit in meditation or how carefully you avoid low-energy foods. Your frequency is the architecture of your inner world, a precise structure built from the elements of your own mind. Right now, in this very moment, you are transmitting a signal to reality. That signal does not come from the clothes you wear or the rituals you perform. It comes from what is happening inside you. Just as a radio station can only broadcast the program it is tuned to, your life can only broadcast the program set by your inner state. To shift the broadcast, you don't smash the radio or curse the static. You change the dial. And in the same way, to change your reality, you must know how your inner dial is built piece by piece. Here lies the problem. Most people try to change their lives without ever touching the dial. They chase money, yet secretly believe they are undeserving of wealth. They crave love, but carry convictions that intimacy always leads to pain. They long for success, but expect to fail before they begin. And so they pour years of effort into actions that never yield lasting change. Why? Because they are scattering energy on the level of effects while ignoring the deeper level of cause. They think that if they run faster, work harder, or accumulate more, reality will finally bend. But reality is stubborn. It will only echo the frequency you are already tuned to. Until you understand what builds that frequency, you remain trapped in the endless cycle of chasing outcomes that dissolve in your hands. Let's make this undeniable. Think of a time you desperately wanted something, a promotion, a relationship, a breakthrough. Did it arrive simply because you wanted it hard enough? Or did you notice that when your inner state shifted, when you began to believe you were worthy, when you expected good news, when you held conviction that success was inevitable, suddenly opportunities seemed to fall into place? That is not a coincidence. That is the hidden machinery of frequency at work. Reality is not ignoring you, and it is not playing favorites. It is responding with perfect accuracy to the code you broadcast, and that code is composed of 7 elements that shape your state of consciousness. Miss even one, and the signal becomes scrambled. Align them all, and reality has no choice but to harmonize with what you desire. So let's lay out these 7 components, not as abstract theory, but as practical levers you can recognize in your own life. The first is beliefs. These are the silent agreements you have made with yourself and with the world. Most of them are inherited without question, absorbed from parents, culture, and past experiences. If you believe money is scarce, every opportunity will look like a threat. If you believe love always ends in betrayal, you will unconsciously sabotage intimacy. Beliefs are not objective facts, yet they behave like laws. Whatever you accept as true becomes true in your experience. Next are your emotionally charged thoughts. These are not the fleeting fragments of inner chatter, but the thoughts that carry weight, the ones you repeat with feeling. They are the thoughts that leave an imprint on your nervous system. Fear, anger, and shame, when carried long enough, become heavy seeds that sprout in your daily life. But the opposite is just as powerful. Gratitude, confidence, and clarity, repeated with intensity, create fertile ground for expansion. Your reality blooms from the emotions you rehearse most often. Then comes perception. How do you interpret the events that unfold around you? When someone cancels a meeting, do you see rejection or simply a new opening in your schedule? When plans collapse, do you interpret it as failure or as redirection? Perception is the lens through which you view the world, and that lens determines whether life feels hostile or supportive. Tied to perception are your expectations, those unspoken predictions you carry about the future. You may smile on the outside, but if deep down you expect disappointment, you are already rehearsing it. Expect little, and the universe rarely surprises you. Expect growth, provision, and harmony, and you invite them to appear. Expectations are the silent contracts you sign with tomorrow. The 5th component is focus. Wherever your attention rests, your energy flows, and what you feed with energy grows stronger. Most people scatter their focus across fear, distraction, and doubt, then wonder why their lives appear fragmented. But when you direct focus with intention, returning again and again to the vision of the reality you desire, you sculpt your life as a master shapes clay. Then there are your reactions. Life will always deliver moments that test you, a delay, an insult, an unexpected loss. Your immediate reactions reveal your true frequency more clearly than your conscious affirmations ever could. If you collapse into despair, you confirm an inner state of weakness. If you respond with steadiness, you prove to yourself and to the universe that you are already aligned with resilience. Reactions are the mirror of your deepest conditioning. Finally, there are your convictions, the truths you no longer debate. Beliefs can shift, perceptions can waver, but convictions are anchored. They are the bedrock of your state of consciousness. If you hold the conviction that life supports you, then even in moments of difficulty, that truth will shape your outcome. Convictions are the strongest pillars of frequency because they are not held lightly. They hold you. When you combine beliefs, emotionally charged thoughts, perceptions, expectations, focus, reactions, and convictions, you arrive at the totality of your frequency. This is not guesswork, it is the product code of your life, and here is the revelation. Until you become conscious of these components, you cannot alter them. You may wish for change, but your frequency will betray you. You may chase after new outcomes, but your inner state will keep recycling the old. This is why frequency is not some mystical fog you can't grasp. It is precise, structured, and exact. The life you are living right now is not random. It is the harvest of seeds planted through these 7 components. If you dislike the fruit, you must change the root. Align the inner code, and the outer reality will align in return. And when that alignment occurs, manifestation is no longer uncertain. It is inevitable. Now that you understand what builds frequency, the next step is to see how it moves reality itself. Because it is not enough to know the ingredients, you must also grasp the law that governs how they shape the world you live in. That law is cause and effect, and it is far more than philosophy. It is the hidden order that decides whether your life remains stuck or finally begins to flow. Chapter 2. The Law of Cause and Effect. Every great mystery of life can be traced back to one principle: cause and effect. This is not just philosophy, not just an abstract law from dusty old texts. It is the engine that runs your reality. From the growth of a seed into a tree, to the rise and fall of empires, to the intimate circumstances of your daily life, nothing escapes this law. Every effect you see in your world has a cause, and every cause, without fail, creates an effect. Yet most people live as though this law does not exist. They struggle to fix the effects: lack of money, broken relationships, missed opportunities, without ever tending to the cause. They try to pull weeds from the surface without touching the roots, and so the weeds keep returning, season after season. Here is the tragedy. Almost everyone is chasing shadows. They want money, but remain tuned to lack. They want a loving partner, yet vibrate with distrust and self-doubt. They want advancement, but hold the conviction that they will never be chosen. These desires all belong to the realm of effect. And the realm of effect is only the second act in the play of creation. What determines Act 2 is Act 1. But Act 1 takes place where most people refuse to look, on the mental plane. And because they cannot see it with their eyes, they assume it does not exist. They cling to the illusion that the physical is the starting point. And by doing so, they focus all their energy on manipulating matter while ignoring the true origin of every outcome, the state of their own consciousness. Think of it. This is why people repeat cycles endlessly. They fix the surface only to watch the same problem reappear in a different form. They change partners but end up in the same kind of relationship. They switch jobs but face the same frustrations. They chase new opportunities, yet the same obstacles return. They are tending to Part 2, while Part 1 remains untouched. Consider the simple metaphor of a seed. If you plant an apple seed, can you ever expect to harvest oranges? Of course not. Yet this is precisely how most people live. They plant seeds of lack, fear, or resentment in their consciousness, then demand abundance, peace, and love in their reality. When the harvest arrives bitter, they curse the soil, the weather, the world, without realizing that the true cause was the seed they themselves planted. This is why you cannot outrun your frequency. Reality is not judging you, it is simply mirroring you. If your inner state is filled with doubt, life will faithfully echo it back. If your inner state is saturated with conviction, reality will unfold to confirm it. You may believe you are tricking the system by putting on a smile or forcing actions, but the deeper code always wins. Your frequency broadcasts louder than your words. And here is the most unsettling truth. The relationship between cause and effect is exact. It is 1-to-1. Every effect in your life today can be traced to a cause you carried within. Nothing is random. The world is simply a mirror, sometimes a painful one, reflecting the state of your consciousness back to you. So what do you do with this knowledge? You stop fighting with effects and start planting new causes. You stop trying to manipulate the fruit and tend instead to the seed. If you want more money, the cause must be a consciousness of wealth. That does not mean reckless spending or pretending to be rich. It means embodying the belief, the expectation, the focus, and the conviction that money flows easily and naturally to you. It means carrying the seed of sufficiency inside even before the harvest appears outside. If you want love, the cause must be the state of already being loved and already being whole. You cannot approach relationships as a desperate search to fill emptiness inside. That emptiness will simply echo back in partners who are unavailable or unkind. The seed must be planted first within you, a conviction of worthiness, a perception of love already present, an expectation of harmony. Then, and only then, does the effect unfold as external companionship. If you want advancement in career or purpose, the cause must be the self-concept of one who has already advanced. You must think, feel, and react as the person who belongs in that role. Without that inner alignment, every promotion will slip away like water through your hands. This is not about daydreaming or wishful thinking. It is about aligning frequency, the 7 components of belief, thought, perception, expectation, focus, reaction, and conviction, with the reality you claim to desire. When the cause is in place, the effect becomes inevitable. Here is the profound simplicity of this law. You can only ever reap what you sow. Every effect is identical to its cause. If your world does not please you, the invitation is clear. Change the seed. Alter your inner frequency, and the harvest must follow. The law of cause and effect has no exceptions, no loopholes, no favoritism. It is the most merciful law in existence, because it guarantees that once you change within, the without must eventually reflect it. This means you are never a victim of circumstances, you are the cause, and the moment you embrace this truth, not as a theory but as a daily practice, you regain authorship of your life. Now that you see how cause and effect govern reality, the question becomes, how do you stop chasing high frequency as if it were a prize, and instead maintain the right frequency? Because being thrown off course is not the problem. Staying there is. And in the next section, we will uncover how to hold alignment long enough for reality to catch up with your inner transformation. Chapter 3. The Trap of External Focus. You can spend years rearranging the furniture of your life, new job, new city, new partner, only to wake up in the same room with different wallpaper. It feels like the world is ignoring your effort. In truth, the world is obeying your state. Reality is the photograph. Your inner condition is the negative. Until the negative changes, every print looks the same. The mirror never moves first. Most people try to fix part 2. They chase money while holding an inner identity of lack. They beg for love while carrying convictions of rejection. They push for promotion while expecting to be passed over. They are gripping the echo, not the voice. Because we live on the physical plane, we confuse the visible effect with the hidden cause, focusing all attention on matter while ignoring the mental origin that determines it. And so the loop continues. Desire grows, effort intensifies, outcomes repeat. We try to outrun what we are inside, yet you cannot outpace your own frequency. The outer keeps synchronizing with the inner, precisely and impersonally, as it always has. Look at your patterns with ruthless honesty. When you wanted it more, did results finally stick, or did they slip? Now recall a time you knew, calmly, quietly, that something was yours before it showed up. Notice how easily the world complied when the inner state matched the outcome. The principle is simple, even if it's uncomfortable. Reality is materialized frequency. What you hold consistently within becomes what you handle without. Concrete examples make it inescapable. If internally you are in the state of no money, the only effect you can repeatedly experience is no money. regardless of how urgently you chase the opposite. If internally you inhabit distrust or unworthiness, relationships will keep mirroring disharmony no matter how beautifully they begin. Effects can't migrate to a new pattern while causes remain old. The escape route is not more push. It's a sequence inversion. Stop trying to alter effects first. Plant cause correctly, then let effect arrive on schedule. Cause lives on the mental plane, your frequency, self-concept, and level of awareness. Effect unfolds on the physical plane, the outcomes people can see. Work where causation actually occurs. Make this your internal checkpoint before any external demand. Am I different internally? If not, I am asking the mirror to change while my face stays the same. Build the inner condition that already contains the result, then act from it. This is the only order that works. Install the cause within and implement what you want at the level of cause before you insist on seeing it at the level of effect. Practically, that means choose the self-concept that owns the result. Wealthy, chosen, healthy, loved. Hold expectations congruent with that identity. What you naturally anticipate now that you are that person. Sustain focus and reactions that confirm the role, how you respond when tested. Do this long enough, and the physical must be reprinted from the new negative. The tree can only bear fruit of its seed. External overdrive without internal authorship is spiritual treadmill work. Sweat, noise, no distance. The universe is not punishing you. It is precise. You never beat the mirror. You never outrun your frequency. When you accept that cause is mental and effect is physical, you stop wrestling with reflections and start shaping the face. That's the moment cycles break, not because you finally tried hard enough, but because you finally worked at the only level that ever had leverage. Now that you've stopped chasing the echo, the next trap is subtler, confusing constant high vibes with the right frequency. In the following chapter, we'll dismantle the "be happy 24/7" myth and replace it with a durable alignment that actually manifests. Chapter 4: Right Frequency versus High Frequency. Everywhere you look, someone is preaching about staying high frequency. They tell you to be happy all the time, to smile no matter what, to eat only certain foods, to keep every emotion spotless and pure. And maybe you've tried it. Maybe you've forced yourself to hold on to joy like a trophy, convinced that if you could just maintain constant bliss, life would finally deliver what you want. But deep down, you know it doesn't work. Because the moment life pushes back, the moment you feel tired, frustrated, or human, you crash. And then guilt creeps in. You scold yourself for not being spiritual enough, not enlightened enough, not strong enough to stay up there. This cycle of forcing and failing is not alignment, it is self-sabotage. The truth is liberating. You don't need to be in a perpetual high. You only need to be in the right frequency, the frequency that matches the reality you desire. Here's where so many go wrong. They mistake frequency for a mood. They think if they laugh enough, meditate enough, or eliminate every negative thought, they will ascend into some untouchable plane where manifestation rains down like confetti. But that misunderstanding destroys more dreams than doubt ever could. Because the universe has rhythm. For every inhalation, there must be an exhalation. For every tide that rises, one must fall. For every peak of emotion, there must be a valley. If you try to force yourself to stay suspended in a euphoric state, you fight against the rhythm of existence itself. And when you fight against rhythm, you lose. The fall is inevitable. And when you fall, you don't land softly. You tumble into guilt, frustration, and anger. You begin to think something is wrong with you. You think you've failed the spiritual test. You think the manifestation has slipped out of reach because you couldn't hold the high long enough. This is the tragedy. Chasing a high frequency becomes the very reason people stay stuck in low ones. Ask yourself, are you happy every moment of your current reality? Of course not. Nobody is. So why would you assume that in your desired reality you would live in a constant state of euphoric bliss? Think of when you first achieved something you deeply wanted: a job, a relationship, a breakthrough. At first, the joy was overwhelming, but soon it normalized. It became your baseline. You didn't walk around every day screaming with joy. You adapted to it. That is exactly how manifestation works. When the desired reality becomes yours, it becomes normal. It neutralizes into your everyday state. And that neutrality is not a failure. It is proof of embodiment. It shows you have absorbed the reality into your frequency so deeply that it no longer feels like a miracle. It feels like life. This is the distinction. High frequency is chasing peaks. Right frequency embodies alignment. One burns you out, the other sustains you. So how do you step into the right frequency? You stop forcing constant highs and start aligning with consistency. First, redefine frequency not as mood, but as awareness. Your frequency is your level of awareness. Awareness of what? Awareness that you are already the person who inhabits the reality you desire. When you shift awareness, you shift frequency. And when you shift frequency, you shift outcomes. Second, give yourself permission to experience rhythm. The universe breathes, and so do you. When emotions dip, it does not mean you've lost alignment. It means you are human. The task is not to avoid being thrown off. It is to avoid staying off. Alignment is not perfection. It is recalibration. Third, cultivate neutrality as a strength. Neutrality means your desired reality feels normal, not distant. It means when you visualize abundance, you don't feel euphoric like you're watching a fantasy. You feel calm, steady, and secure, as if it is already your baseline. That is the right frequency. That is what collapses the distance between wanting and having. Finally, release the guilt of imperfection. Every time you crash from forced positivity, you reinforce lack. But when you accept rhythm, when you allow dips and rises while holding the awareness of who you are becoming, you stay in alignment even when emotions fluctuate. The truth is simple. The universe never demanded you be perfect. It never asked you to be happy every second, calm every day, and enlightened every moment. It only asked you to be aligned. The right frequency means living from the state of your desired reality until it becomes natural. It means letting the extraordinary become ordinary inside you, so it can appear outside you. So stop chasing the high, stop policing your emotions like a tyrant, stop trying to force yourself into spiritual perfection. Instead, aim for resonance. Aim for the frequency that quietly, calmly, and persistently mirrors the life you want. That is enough. That is always enough. But even with this understanding, life will still test you. You will fall off frequency. You will feel resistance. And the key to mastery is not avoiding the fall, but knowing how to return quickly when it happens. That process is called recalibration, and it is the secret skill that separates those who manifest sporadically from those who manifest consistently. In the next section, we will uncover exactly how to recalibrate step by step so that you can always return to alignment, no matter how far you drift. Chapter 5: Recalibration, Returning to Alignment. You will be thrown off. That is not a possibility. It is a certainty. No one maintains alignment perfectly. There will be days when anger floods your chest, when disappointment gnaws at you, when doubt whispers louder than conviction, and that is not a sign of failure, it is a sign of being human. The real danger is not in being thrown off. The real danger is in staying off. Because the longer you remain out of alignment, the more momentum that misaligned state gathers, and once momentum builds, it begins to harden into your frequency, which then projects outward as the very reality you do not want. So recalibration, the art of returning to alignment, is not optional. It is the most vital skill of manifestation. Without it, every drift becomes a spiral. With it, every slip becomes an opportunity for mastery. Here is the trap. When most people fall out of alignment, they panic. They tell themselves, "I've ruined everything. I'm too far gone. I'll never get back." That very belief cements the misaligned state even deeper. Think of frequency like a coat you put on. Each state of consciousness is a garment. Slip into anger, wear it long enough, and it clings to you. Slip into guilt, and soon it feels like a second skin. When you try to remove it after days or weeks, it hurts because it has stuck. That is why staying off frequency is dangerous. The longer you wear the wrong coat, the more it pretends to be who you are. And the tragedy is that people often try to deal with this by ignoring their emotions. They bury anger, suppress grief, fake smiles, or chant affirmations while their inner world festers. But what is denied does not disappear. It slips behind the curtain of consciousness and sabotages from the shadows. Suppression is not recalibration. It is a distortion. Think of your own life. How many times have you focused obsessively on what you did not want? The rejection letter you couldn't forget, the argument you replayed in your head, the opportunity you thought was gone forever. Every ounce of attention poured into those memories was energy reinforcing a frequency of lack, and reality, faithful as always, echoed it back. Here is the raw truth. All negative emotion is built on concentration upon an undesired reality. That is why it hurts. It is the body's way of warning you that your focus has wandered. The emotion is not your enemy. It is your compass. But if you mistake the compass for the destination, you become stuck. You spiral deeper into what you don't want, all while thinking you're doomed. What you need is not panic, not guilt, but a conscious return, a recalibration. So how do you recalibrate? The process is simpler than you think. Step 1 is awareness. You must recognize when you have been thrown off, not with judgment, but with honesty. Say to yourself, "I've slipped. My focus is on what I don't want. Let me return." That acknowledgement is power. Step 2 is to allow the emotion. Feel it without resistance. Anger, sadness, disappointment. Let them breathe for a moment. Do not deny them. Do not cover them with false positivity. Emotions are weather, not identity. They will pass if you allow them to move through. Step 3 is to shift focus. Every negative state is tied to focusing on what you don't want. So ask, what do I want instead? If you lost a client, what you want is clients who say yes. If you had a disappointing date, what you want is a relationship that fulfills you. If you lost a job, what you want is meaningful work. Redirect focus from absence to presence, from loss to fulfillment. Step 4 is to embody the end. Declare to yourself, "I already have it." Dwell in the state of consciousness of your desired reality, as though the outcome is already yours. Feel how natural it would be to inhabit that life. Not euphoric, not extreme, just normal. The more ordinary it feels inside, the more extraordinary it becomes outside. Step 5 is to normalize recalibration as easy. Write this truth into your mind. Recalibration is simple. It is only your belief that it is difficult that makes it so. When you assume it is hard, you add weight to the wrong state. When you assume it is easy, you return quickly. Recalibration is not a cosmic ordeal. It is simply rewriting reality in real time, shifting your inner broadcast from one channel to another. And this is the great secret. Mastery of frequency is not about never falling. It is about falling and rising faster each time. The greatest creators, the most aligned beings, are not the ones who never stumble. They are the ones who recalibrate with grace. Each time you are thrown off, you are handed a chance to strengthen awareness. Each time you shift back, you deepen the conviction that nothing external has power over your state. Over time, this skill becomes second nature. You no longer fear the fall because you trust your ability to return. And in that trust lies freedom. Freedom from guilt, from panic, from the illusion that one bad day can undo years of inner work. Freedom to live rhythmically, to dance with the rises and falls of life, knowing that alignment is always one choice away. Now you see how to recalibrate, how to return to alignment no matter how far you drift. But there is one more truth waiting. Reality creation is not about fleeting victories or occasional breakthroughs. It is about consistency, about wearing the right frequency long enough for reality to catch up. And in the conclusion, we will tie every strand together, so you see not just the pieces of the game, but the entire design of reality itself. Conclusion: the game of reality. Life is often described as a mystery, as if we are stumbling through it blind, hoping chance will deliver what we long for. But after everything we've explored, it should be clear. Life is not random. It is a game, a precise and structured game, and the rules of this game are written in frequency. Every circumstance, every relationship, every victory and defeat is not luck. It is alignment. Reality is not mocking you, nor is it withholding gifts. Reality is your most honest mirror, and the image it reflects is not what you claim to want, but who you truly are inside. That is the law. That is the game. The reason so many suffer is because they play this game unconsciously. They confuse cause with effect. They try to fix the mirror instead of the face reflected in it. They rush into action without changing the state of consciousness that guides those actions. They attempt to hold themselves in constant bliss, confusing high frequency with right frequency, and when they crash, they drown in guilt. They mistake being thrown off as failure instead of learning the art of recalibration. And so, year after year, they repeat the same cycles. New jobs, same frustrations. New partners, same heartbreak. New goals, same disappointments. Like players who never read the rulebook, they wander aimlessly, hoping effort will replace understanding. But effort alone cannot rewrite frequency. Think back over your own life. Notice the patterns, the areas where outcomes seem to repeat. That is not a coincidence. Those are echoes of your inner state. When you were convinced the world was against you, didn't you find evidence everywhere? When you believed in your ability to rise, didn't opportunities appear as if on cue? Reality has never betrayed you. It has only obeyed you. It has mirrored your beliefs, your perceptions, your expectations, your convictions, faithfully and without fail. Every harvest has matched the seed. Every effect has matched its cause. And every misaligned state has carried its consequences until you shifted within. Conclusion: the game of reality. Life is often described as a mystery, as if we are stumbling through it blind, hoping chance will deliver what we long for. But after everything we've explored, it should be clear. Life is not random. It is a game, a precise and structured game, and the rules of this game are written in frequency. Every circumstance, Every relationship, every victory and defeat is not luck. It is alignment. Reality is not mocking you, nor is it withholding gifts. Reality is your most honest mirror, and the image it reflects is not what you claim to want, but who you truly are inside. That is the law. That is the game. The reason so many suffer is because they play this game unconsciously. They confuse cause with effect. They try to fix the mirror instead of the face reflected in it. They rush into action without changing the state of consciousness that guides those actions. They attempt to hold themselves in constant bliss, confusing high frequency with right frequency, and when they crash, they drown in guilt. They mistake being thrown off as failure instead of learning the art of recalibration. And so, year after year, they repeat the same cycles. New jobs, same frustrations. New partners, same heartbreak. New goals, same disappointments. Like players who never read the rulebook, they wander aimlessly, hoping effort will replace understanding. But effort alone cannot rewrite frequency. Think back over your own life. Notice the patterns, the areas where outcomes seem to repeat. That is not a coincidence. Those are echoes of your inner state. When you were convinced the world was against you, didn't you find evidence everywhere? When you believed in your ability to rise, didn't opportunities appear as if on cue? Reality has never betrayed you. It has only obeyed you. It has mirrored your beliefs, your perceptions, your expectations, your convictions, faithfully and without fail. Every harvest has matched the seed. Every effect has matched its cause. And every misaligned state has carried its consequences until you shifted within.